Kolkata to Thane, courts are intervening and taking state governments to task. We have Justice Madan Lokur joining us now to put in context increasing cases of judicial intervention in matters which are essentially responsibilities of state governments, be it safety of doctors on duty or women's safety or safety of children in schools. Justice Lokur, thank you so much for your time here on NDTV. Sir, according to you, what are the lapses that you have noticed in the investigation so far with regards to Kolkata, and any serious lapse, particularly on the part of the Kolkata police, that will vitiate the investigation?
Yeah, thank you for having me here today. I think one of the biggest lapses, in my view, is the cremation of the girl, of the doctor. She is the evidence. I mean, all the evidence is on her. All right. So, what was the hurry in, carrying out the cremation? Maybe it could have been done a day later. Bodies are kept in a morgue. So I really don't see why there was this hurry. That is one. The second thing, which is of course technical, is that there was a delay in recording the FIR. All right. Now that may not have much of a significance so far as the investigation is concerned, but from the investigation point of view, getting the doctor cremated, I think was wrong. Doing it in such a hurry.
Justice Lokur, in such cases, CBI isn't really the first respondent. They are brought in only after it is seen that the state police is not able to handle the case properly. And will it in any way then hamper the CBI's probe? Of course, they are going ahead with investigations. They are carrying out polygraph tests as well.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it will hamper the investigation. There are perhaps ways and means. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm sure there are ways and means of unearthing evidence. All right. So that can be done. Maybe a polygraph test is a good enough way of doing it. If I understand that not only is the accused who is in custody, he's being subjected to a polygraph test, but there are several others also who are being subjected to a polygraph test. So I think they will be able to piece, the crime and find out what exactly happened. Okay, they'll be able to piece together all that, but it depends on how it is done. How scientifically it is done, because that will then be tested in a court of law. Okay, that's what is important really at the end of the day.
And in this case, Justice Lokur, the Supreme Court has constituted a national task force to work out the modalities of safety measures which could be put in place for medical professionals. The NTF, of course, is to make some recommendations for ensuring safety security within the hospital premises. And the Cabinet Secretary and the Union Home and Family Welfare Secretaries will function as ex officio members. But sir, how far can it be helpful? Because health is a state subject. Law and order is a state subject.
Yeah, you see, it can give guidance. All right. Now, for example, there was a time when you had this Model Prisons Act or Model Prisons Manual. All right. Prisons is a state subject. But once you have that document, it can give guidance to the states. So similarly, if the National Task Force comes out with some kind of recommendations, it will definitely help the states. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect is that, there was a time, maybe I think in 2019 or 2020, when a draft legislation was prepared. All right. For some reason, it was shelved. Now, there is a demand, apparently, that this act should be enacted or this bill should be passed into a law. Now, one of the things that is being said is that, you see, this is a state subject. How can Parliament legislate on it? But the Constitution provides for a situation like this. If you remember, a long time back in the 1970s, when the Wildlife Protection Act was passed, All right. The states passed a resolution saying that we would like Parliament to enact a law. And on that basis, Parliament enacted the Wildlife Protection Act. So, similarly, in a situation like this, I don't think any state is going to say that, listen, we don't want Parliament to enact a law. Right? They will agree. Now, since there is already a draft legislation, that can be circulated to the states, inviting their suggestions, comments, and so on and so forth. So, if there is a will to do it, it can be done, and I think it should be done.
Okay, so and increasingly we are seeing suo motu cognizance being taken by courts in what are essentially core governance issues, like safety of women. These are law and order issues. Policing is a law and order issue. How are you seeing this transition? Is this some kind of signal or sign of failing governance?
In a sense, yes. Why are there public interest litigations? Okay, because there is a failure in governance, and that is being pointed out through the public. Now, if the court takes suo motu cognizance of something, that means there is something wrong, and which needs to be corrected. I remember dealing with a suo motu case about prison reforms. All right. A letter was sent by a former Chief Justice of India to the Supreme Court that was taken up as a public interest petition, suo motu in that sense, and action taken. So you are right. It has something to do with governance.
And so, today in the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice said and reminded the state governments that they should not politicize the matter. Why is the judiciary needing to remind the state governments that they should not be politicizing issues which are so core? I mean, safety of women is the priority, it is the responsibility, it is the duty of a state.
Yeah. Ironically, the first thing that struck me when I came to know about the murder was that, is it going to become a political issue? Right? That's the first thing that struck me. Now, why should a crime like this be a political issue at all? Okay, and I heard a part of the proceedings, saw a part of the proceedings on TV, and sure enough, political statements were being made or political accusations were being made. I think it's time that we have to get over this business of politicizing everything. Even a crime like rape and murder. I think it has to stop, and it has to stop now.
And Justice Lokur, 12 years ago, there was that Justice Verma committee which was set up to look into crimes against women. Of course, they came up with some stringent laws. The emphasis was on time-bound investigation and trial. And again, we are seeing crimes against women. I'm speaking to you on a day that Supreme Court has reminded the state government of Kolkata, in Bengal, of their failures. And then you have another state of Maharashtra, the government of Maharashtra being reminded how they have failed the children in the state.
Yeah, you see, going back to the Nirbhaya case, right? That wasn't politicized. Okay, it had a political fallout later on, but that was not, politicized. People just came on the streets. So why should we inject politics into a crime of this nature? That's one question I think that we have to answer, and we have to deal with this sort of a situation. Now, you will have, crimes against women, crimes against children. I mean, crimes against children are horrible. And in a very large number, we don't talk about them, unfortunately. They don't have the kind of traction that crime against women have. But, yeah, I think the state governments have to wake up and say that, listen, we have to do something about it. The Verma Commission passed several recommendations. Some of them were converted into laws. A Nirbhaya fund was set up, a couple of thousand crores, I think about 10,000 crores or something. Has it been utilized? I don't think so. So, I think our governments have to get their act together. Otherwise, these things will go on happening. They've happened in the past between Nirbhaya and today. They've happened several times. They've happened in Unnao. They've happened in Kathua. I mean, now you're facing children in Maharashtra. So unless the government says that, listen, we have to stop this and we have to do something about it, this thing will continue.
All right, Justice Madan Lokur, pleasure speaking to you, sir. Thank you so much for speaking to NDTV.